Hello, my beautiful people. We're back with another episode. Yeah, we still here. We still trucking along. And this episode, we're gonna get into the scourge that has been plaguing the NCAA, which is actually mostly almost all their fault, and that is the NIL, name, image, and likeness. College players are currently now getting paid, and a lot of things are happening, and things are getting a little crazy out there. I mean, at first, all the complaints seem to be, from a lot of big coaches with big names who used to, be swinging, speaking softly and carrying the big one and being able to get things that they wanted. But now, ooh, things have changed up a little bit. And things are getting out of hand, to be honest. And it's not just the NIL on its own, it's a combination of the NIL and what a transfer portal is. I mean, to think about how things are today, we just sort of gotta, look back a little bit at how we actually got to this point. Cause like this didn't just, just happen overnight. This wasn't. I mean, it sort of did happen overnight. By the way, the NCAA, decided to put things in instead of, taking it gently, setting up something, that'll work out, have some legislation, some rules, instead of, just letting it be a free open market, which now we have seen just run a complete muck. Like just made a complete mess of things. And, you know, I'm enjoying it. Just to see the NCAA just fall flat on their face for some shit they fucked up. Like, this is your idea, this is how you decide to execute it, and now look at you. But I think before we get here, we gotta dial things back. We're not talking about they're gonna make NIL legal for the athletes and let them have agents to work out these deals. No, we're gonna go further back than that. We're gonna go starting all the way back. I mean, not too far back. I'm not taking it back, to the 70s and 80s. Talking about college sports' worst kept secret, which is these athletes getting paid under the table, and if the team is caught paying athletes under the table, apparently only the athlete gets in trouble. Those are the people who get a bad rep. You know, you got examples such as let's see, Des Bryant being taken to a $300 dinner by Deion Sanders, someone who we knew for an extended amount of time beforehand. The Fab Five getting their same little spiel where the only reason Chris Webber got in trouble because he lied about, having known this man since middle school, and this man since middle school having given each one of them money and stuff like that. Well, you start there. Then I think the big one we get to is, 2013, 2014, 2015. Some may have forgotten, but the University of Northwestern set off a crazy chain of events. Yeah, Northwestern. Most of you, if you know about it, it's a pretty good law school. You don't hear about it in sports really all that much, but they put together some decent football teams some years. But it happened. It occurred when the football team at Northwestern looked at everything they were doing and said, "Hey, we're going to file for the right to unionize under the National Labor Board for review." In which, in the city of Chicago for the state of Illinois, the NCAA put money towards it. They thought, oh, this is just gonna, sweep itself under the rug. No one's gonna pay attention to it. They won that case. People forget that's what initially happened in the state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago. They won their case that allowed not just the football players and not just the other athletes at the University of Northwestern. It allowed all student athletes in the state of Illinois to unionize and file them as being employees. I mean, it didn't automatically make all of them immediately available to unionize, immediately part of a union, but allowed them to unionize and considered all of them to be employees. Consider the amount of time that is required of them to be part of that football team and to maintain their scholarships and whatnot. So from there, of course, the NCAA, once they saw that shit pass, they put out all their shit out of their bag of tricks, pulled all their connections, and got it to the National Labor Board, like the national office in D.C., which the office in D.C. turned it, you know, reversed that ruling after the NCAA had appealed it in Chicago and got it reversed there. Work its way up. Takes years with all this delegation, legislation, litigation. All those shins, all of those words that have to do with legal stuff. And ooh we, it started there. Then fast forward a few years. Name, image, and likeness keeps coming up. Let these kids get paid. There's perfect examples of like students, who have promising careers and things, you know, go extremely south. One bad injury, such as a prime example, is the young boy Justin Ross, wide receiver for the University of Clemson, the number one recruit for the state of Alabama his college year, in which his freshman year, true freshman year, he goes to the national championship game with Clemson and lights Alabama up. You know, writes his name all over their faces, like, yo, this is Justin Ross time. And of course, from that, this kid's going, being, looked at as like, yo, this motherfucker is gonna be a first round draft pick. People are like, well, he's required to do 2 more years of college, but as people always say, you're against, these college kids getting paid for their athletics on the field. Which, if anyone else has been to college, they seem to be the only group of people who can't get paid to do things in the discipline of which they went to college for, which is sports. Me, I'm just an engineering student. I can get paid to tutor somebody's kids and somebody's kids in science and math, and it won't be a problem. I won't. I want to lose my scholarship. I want to get kicked out of school for it. No one bats an eye. But say a basketball player helps run a basketball camp in his hometown and gets paid for it. People are up in arms. Oh my God, how can they do this? The sanctity of the game and sports. Blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, Justin Ross. People saying, oh yeah, he's gonna get paid once he gets to the league. Well, guess what happened to him? He ends up finding out he has uh, a hereditary disease, which causes problems in his neck. He got surgery on his neck. All of that good stuff. He does not even get drafted this year in this year's draft. Think about it. Falling from one of the first five people in your position group that's going to go off the board to not even being drafted at all. Period. I mean, he did get an undrafted rookie deal, but anybody who knows the sport of football in the NFL, that don't promise shit. I mean, I'm gonna put in the links. I'm gonna have to find it. I will put it in the link. But there's definitely a good video. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's currently in the NFL. He's a starter on the team. He talks about how, as an undrafted rookie, he signed 3 years, $1.5 million deal, and over the course of time, he only made about $350,000 over those 3 years. Because the shit that they tell you it ain't what you think it is, and that's why these kids need to get paid when their time is there. When the iron's hot. Because it's football. Like, there's no guarantee your body's gonna be able to hold up the next day. Not just football, basketball, all these sports. But from there, let me get back. Got on a tangent. I'm sorry. I apologize. I ain't a professional at this. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to the starting point, to the next starting point, which was the state of California. Decided to be like, hey, we have a we have a 4 year timeline for us to be able to roll out NIL for all athletes in our state. And of course, the NCAA decided to, thinking they were swinging the big stick, and said, well, we're going to ban you from all NCAA tournaments, NCAA competition. We're not going to allow any other teams to participate, yada, yada, yada. The state of California got together, got all their athletic people together, and they said, that's cool. We going to be all right. We're just going to take every D1, D2, D3, JUCO, restructure all of that to make leagues, and then we'll just be playing. The state of California will just be the money league over here, while the rest of the country, I don't know what y'all doing, but we got the money league over here. We got San Francisco, we got Sacramento, we got Los Angeles. We got millions and millions of people. We could just have regional broadcasts of the best players playing for some money before they go to the league. We're gonna be it. We're gonna be straight. We're gonna roll out this 4 year plan. We're gonna get it together. And so after the state of California said that, and said, well, just said, we'll give NIL immediately in 6 months. with no plan. We just don't want to be outdone. We want to seem like we're in control. And these motherfuckers are not in goddamn control. This shit is crazy, crazy. Like, you know what? I think shit. I might not have his face in the icon. I'll make that decision later after recording this episode. But Jordan Addison, big ticket, big, big, big ticket out of all this NIL transferring. Especially, it's NIL combined with the new structure of the transfer portal of like, because it used to be, these coaches had full dominion over a player's career. Like, you couldn't leave a school unless the head coach signed off on it, which of course made a lot of problems. The head coach had to approve the school you went to, which meant, you know, kid. Sometimes these kids wouldn't be able to directly go to these to from one night school to another night school. It caused problems, and now they got that out of the way. So you got that combined with you don't even got to go down one year your first time, so you get one free year where you just go straight to another one and not have to sit out nothing like that. So that is created a mess. And with Jordan Addison, I might be a small podcast, but I'm out here in these streets a little bit. I have sources, and them sources put me on to that Jordan Addison, Jordan Addison, who's tracked to be the top wide receiver in his class. Especially, after the attention paid to him when everybody was looking at Kenny Pickett's tape and saw Jordan Addison was doing a lot of heavy lifting out there. No disrespect to Kenny Pickett, great quarterback, but they saw Jordan Addison. They was like, oh yeah, Jordan Addison, that's the guy. So I knew beforehand, before he even announced, probably about 8 hours before the announcement came out, like, yo, he's leaving Pitt, and his possible destination is somewhere in the state of California, especially with his agent being stationed and running his office out of the Los Angeles area. Seems like he might be going to USC, joining that Lincoln Riley staff. Lincoln Riley, he can work wonders. And speaking of Lincoln Riley, you know, it's looking like, you know, people are trying to lure Jordan Addison the same from allegedly, I have sources and I've seen articles saying that basically, that allegedly, big allegedly, Caleb Williams was lured to USC to follow Lincoln Riley by a booster, sort of functioning somewhat as an agent. And similar to how agents do in the NFL to get people to sign with their agencies, that the initial sign on is, yo, I'll give you $2 million to come to USC. But in that contract, whatever other NIL stuff you sign while you're here, I get a certain percentage of that so that I can make my money back and make some profit off you. So someone is thinking over the next 2 years, Caleb Williams is gonna be worth $2 million. Which some of you are like, yeah, no athlete could be worth that. But it's like, nah, it's USC, it's LA. Trust me. Reggie Bush could have easily brought in probably 20, 25 mil a year. That boy was electric back then. And if Caleb Williams can bring as much hype, well, no one's ever gonna bring as much hype as Reggie Bush did. Reggie Bush was different. But if Caleb Williams can bring back the hype, these blue blood programs like to pay a lot of money, and you're in LA, Caleb Williams can at least, keep his name in the Heisman conversation, probably keep them at least undefeated or maybe one loss until almost, to the conference championship game. Nothing can nothing can stop whoever this mysterious booster agent is from making it 2 million back, by the end of the season, probably having 4 mil in their pocket, maybe doubling their investment in 1 year. But the NIL is going crazy. If you haven't been paying attention, there's been tons of articles, especially with these athletes coming out saying, "Hey, I'm staying at my school, but I'm gonna shout out some of the numbers that certain programs are offering me. Come out and transfer. Some of these top wide receivers, quarterbacks getting offered. Hey, they're throwing a million, half a mil at them. Be like, hey, and the transfer portal come to my school. I'll give you this money." And that's one of the things I don't, we knew was coming, but the NCAA didn't try to set up any regulations for how wild it would get because I can't I can't even imagine how crazy it's getting because like especially when it gets to the point where these boosters, oh, these people get out of hand. I mean, if you've seen the Pony XS 30 for 30 about SMU and how they got the death penalty, oh, these boosters can get heavily involved in these programs and make all kinds of crazy moves, man. All kinds of crazy moves. But The one that brought it for me, it was an ESPN article. It said multiple times, multiple coaches basically saying, yo, this booster is promising this kid $100,000 to come transfer to our team. But I don't even want this kid on the team. And that's the biggest quote you can see that lets you know, yo, this shit is fully out of hand. So many regulations are gonna get stepped through. I mean, we already saw with the explosion of social media reasons like, yo, these boosters are directly messaging, DMing these kids on all these different social media platforms, influencing them. So it's like that's already been out of hand. And it was like, yo, we put it in the rules, boosters aren't allowed to contact kids, yada yada yada. It's like that ain't gonna stop nobody from setting up a burner account, doing it on a sneak tip, or just doing it on a regular account and just hoping the kid ain't gonna snitch, which probably most of these kids ain't. I mean, you could check out this one little mini doc that SB Nation did about Laramie Tunsil. Well, based off of Laramie Tunsil, that whole video of him smoking the bong, draft day going crazy, the agent getting pissed off at him, yada yada. But they were also investigating, how the money was moving just in the state of Mississippi between Old Miss and Mississippi State. And how one recruit basically played all of these teams against one another and was bringing in, damn near 40,000 a month from all these boosters sending them money and all these little bagmen pulling up, being like, hey, come sign with our school. But NIL is like fully a hell landscape right now. It's the amount of money being offered to these kids to lure them from one program to another. When not when it seems like a decent amount of time, not even the coaches are involved. I mean, a lot of times these coaches are involved. They're very aware of how the shit's moving, but it's like this money's being thrown out, and it's gonna be crazy. It's full free agency right now. I mean, they said it even season and a half ago, even before NIL came out. I mean, even the season when Jalen Hurts immediately transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma to become a better quarterback because Nick Saban don't really develop quarterbacks. Nick Saban, yeah, he ain't really all that nice with that. He had guys behind the scenes doing most of the legwork to even develop a little bit. They do get developed at Alabama. Shout out Steve Sarkisian. Shout out the homie. I mean, they keep saying Texas back, but it ain't looking too good. Hey, Texas, another program that throws hella money. That's one of the few programs where it's like, yeah, they paid a decent amount of money to keep their big recruits there that they did get. Because, ooh, after getting spanked by Kansas in front of a bunch of 5 and 4 stars and on national TV, yeah, they need all they can do. But Texas is a big place that throws money around to. I mean, being here, Richmond, Virginia, VCU, we was all good and happy with Shaka Smart here coaching VCU basketball and going on these runs. And then, Texas threw that man the bag, the biggest of bags, as Texas prone to do. So it's a wild west out here. Some of these kids are reaping the benefits, but a lot of these boosters are getting ahead of themselves. And it's going to get scary for some of these kids transferring to a school and realizing there's no scholarship for them. But would some kids do that? Maybe just to get the bag, not even end up on the team, or maybe have to walk on. Who knows? But they're going to have to work things out. And the way they decided to go about this is super crazy. I don't think they should have did it like this. I mean, anybody could have said that. But NAL is crazy. We're gonna see where the future goes. They're trying to put in legislation, but I think it's already done. It's already out of control. I mean, the amount of money people are getting is great for these kids, but people trying to lure these kids from one school to another without the coaches even knowing, that's when you know it's gotten out of hand. And the NCAA just wanted to beat the state of California to the bullet and sort of just fucked everything up. Didn't have everything smooth. Similar to how the UFC for a period of time back when you were allowed to have your own short sponsors and stuff like that, and banner sponsors. UFC cleaned it up. I was like, hey, yo. Well, first off, all these guys are getting sponsors on their own, but then guys with sponsors on their shorts. Then after the fight, the check ain't cut, and then they gotta go run up on people. Then I was like, okay, you want to be a sponsor on UFC shorts? The sponsorship has to come to the UFC office. You're not allowed to be on anyone's shorts. That cleaned the game up for them a good amount. And the NCAA is gonna have to figure out a way to clean this shit up because it's gonna be a mess, full mess. I mean, I'm glad to see these kids getting paid. Some of these people are taking advantage of these kids and just going over these coaches' heads, and these coaches are like being damn near having players just dropped in their lap that they didn't even know about. But And a lot of deals gonna be getting cut like the Caleb Williams deal too. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, even even on the lowest of lows, bigs to bigs, rumbles in the street are saying like some of the other Bluebird programs offer Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, like 5 milli to transfer to their school. 5 milli, like that's more than half the first round draft picks make on a year-to-year contract. I'm like, yo, that 5 milli, that could do some things, man. Change a couple of lives, man. You only 6 foot, maybe 5'10", but you know what I'm saying? Shit, take a little bit of that money, that's money, change your life up real quick. But hey, I said Bama too. You know you're gonna be on TV and everything, but NIL, think the way things are working, this could be the end of the days of Bama because the reason Bama and like a lot of college programs thrive in basketball, football, is like they don't have no pro sports teams in the area, so it's like the college team is a pro sports team. So there's a lot of investment by people into the school, the local community, to make sure players live a good life and everything. But it's like now that money's involved, it's gonna be more so about these places that have a lot of capital in their cities, like Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Don't get that much capital, baby. They ain't gonna be able to have the kind of sponsorships, local and regional, that maybe Georgia Tech and UGA can pull off. With Georgia Tech literally being in Atlanta and UGA only being 40 minutes away from Atlanta, and with like the city of Atlanta could easily stump out Auburn and Alabama and the amount of money and sponsorships that could be had. You know, Clemson as well. Clemson, South Carolina is a college town. The name of the town is just Clemson. Like if I've been there, I've stopped there, I've driven through there. Ain't a lot of enterprise and industry out there. If you're from Clemson, you listen to this. I'm not shitting on your town. I'm just saying, in comparison to like some of these bigger areas, a lot more industry and enterprise, and a lot more opportunity to give out all kinds of crazy sponsorships on a regional level. That's where things are gonna build. Like these national deals, yeah, a few select players are gonna get that, but these regional deals, a lot of kids are gonna be getting that, and that's where the real money's gonna be. That's gonna stabilize a lot of the stuff. And I think today's Alabama, especially with NIL out there, I think they got like at max 10 years left on the clock. But I think in 5 years, Alabama is gonna be like looking at that team is like gonna be from like a time before. Like we just be like, yeah, Alabama they used to be good. They used to have everything clicked up tight, but now they just how they used to be before Nick Saban got there. Just ass. Nothing good. Ooh, this future NIL is gonna be crazy. Like certain cities are gonna pop up. Maybe even some of the smaller metros can have things going. But we'll see how this goes. We will see. Especially, you know what? Before I even end this, I'll make a prediction. NIL keeps going. In 10 years, the New York College is going to run basketball. LA, maybe not so much for basketball. Because, I mean, you still got a lot of these guys that are just true one and done guys. Guys might stay in for a year or two now to earn more money. But the thing's always been, guys leave as early as they can in basketball because it's like, now that you got things at rookie scale, guys are trying to get to that second contract as fast as possible. So we'll see with basketball, but with football, I think you're gonna see the rise of UFC, USC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, and a decent amount of those teams located in those major metro areas in California. I think you may see the rise once again of University of Miami football, but the administration there, just that college, has gotten things out of whack. So one of these South Florida schools, like University of South Florida, FIU, FAU, one of those schools is going it's going to shoot up big time. There's a lot of money down there. I would say, let me see. Yeah, Georgia Tech, UGA, it's going to shoot up and separate themselves from the rest of the pack probably. Maybe Temple might make a run. Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? University of Michigan's always gonna be University of Michigan, Michigan State. So that's gonna be a whole little ecosystem from that Chicago to Detroit through fare of that route on I-96. That's gonna be a lot of like little integrated commerce going on. So I would say throw Notre Dame in there as well. Maybe University of Toledo might feed off a little bit of it as well. But NIL, we gonna see the future looking funny, looking a little iffy. But it's gonna be interesting to see how these chips stack up, how they all fall, man. Hey, it's another episode. Just me rambling, talking, saying how I feel. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all fucks with me, I fuck with y'all, man. I gotta show love back. Hey, spread the word on the podcast. Try to get some other people to listen to it. You know, trying to build these numbers up. And yes, a change is still coming, like I posted. And I think I sort of messed up a little bit and made it a trailer, so it's like the first thing you hear on the channel. But changes are coming. Podcast name is gonna change. Logo is gonna change. Just be subscribed so you don't miss a thing. All right. Appreciate you. Love you. Be blessed, man. During this brief intermission, I just wanted to remind all our listeners that we're available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and we also have a Twitter account where you guys can interact with us and catch up with us, see our ideas on some things happening between our podcast episodes. Links will always be down in the description. And now back to the action.